Get to Know Me podcast is sponsored by Big Love LLC, an online clothing apparel shop for men, women, children, and no label. Feel free to visit our website today at bigluv.bigcartel.com. That's biglove.bigcartel.com.
No one be on your shitty ass social media or your fucking random ass no bar ass podcast. I don't give a fuck about that nor you.
No joke right there. I'm so serious. Why so serious? A little joke. Just let her know when you want to be serious. Cause when you want to be serious, I'm gonna play around, and when you want to play around, I'm gonna be serious. And if we want to play around and be serious at the same time, I'm just gonna walk off and be serious and playing around while I'm being serious. Because I'm just playing around. Cause I'm never serious.
Why, you been feeling good?
No, I ain't been feeling it bad. But I thank God for being as well as you.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Bizzy Balboa. Welcome to the Get to Know Me podcast. Roll it up, twist it up, and light it, because it's about to go down. Welcome to the Get to Know Me podcast. Go ahead and roll it, twist it, light it, get your coffee or your tea, meditate, pray, sage the building, because you never know what may be said over the airways of the Get to Know Me podcast platform. I am the host and creator, Bizzy Balboa, and I have a special guest on today who is an MC, producer, and engineer out of San Diego, California. Got a new project out called 1110 that dropped on May 17, 2024. And the project mostly covers, the struggles with alcoholism and some challenges faced over the years. Got a traditional boom bap feel to it. I loved it. I listened to the whole thing and everything about it was just beautiful. I love people that are transparent in their music and tell their stories. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, today we have Blind One. Welcome to the show.
Yo, what's up? Thank you. Thank you very much, Bizzy. I appreciate it.
Hey, happy to have you. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you even wanting to be a part of the show. So I appreciate you being here. Thank you.
You know what? It was a few years ago. I started following you for your music. I really dug your voice. I listened to some of your stuff on Spotify before I'm a YouTube music only guy now. I really like that app, so I stuck with that.
Yeah.
Then I figured out that you had the Get to Know Me podcast. And I actually screenshotted a couple because I use my iPhone. I'll screenshot something that I want to remember.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? But I have all these random screenshots in my photo app of things that Blind has to remember. And then I don't know. I didn't have anything to promote at the time. And then I didn't know if you kind of disappeared or if I wasn't following you anymore. But then you posted something that you wanted to do an episode, and I reached out right away because I already knew who you were.
Yeah.
So this is very organic and it's perfect.
That's dope. I love that. I love that. Organic. Yeah, I did. I had stopped interviewing for a while, stopped podcasting, but I recently dropped a project myself, and it was kind of hard to find a platform for me to promote it. And I was like, the only podcast or platform that I know that was doing that was me.
Really? Nice.
Yeah.
I listened to some of it last night. Your newest project. You have a lot of music on YouTube on your releases.
Yeah, I appreciate
that's
it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I listened to some of the old stuff a couple years ago, and then I listened to some of the new stuff last night. I like your style. You've got a ridiculous voice. The voice is a big thing to me in hip hop. You could be the best MC in the world, have the best beats, great cadence, but if you don't have the voice, I think that's part of like the main five that makes you a really good MC, and you have that. So
thank you. I appreciate it. You definitely have to have some sort of voice. I think that voice really sticks out, and listening to your voice on some of the music, it really stuck out to me. Like I could tell that this person been through some stuff and had a story to tell, and I was very intrigued, and I was like, I definitely have to mention this to him whenever we speak. But I wanted to definitely make sure I mentioned this, so before I forget, I'm gonna say a lot of times, like, what I created the podcast for is because I feel like as artists, especially independent artists, you'll see a person and you'll see, how they live on the internet or whatever, and maybe their lifestyle might make you kind of interested in wanting to know more about their music, or maybe hanging around them might make you interested. But with you, listening to your music made me want to get to know more about you personally. It was like kind of like the opposite. So it was like man, this is my first time ever experiencing this feeling where, I'm
No doubt.
interested in a person more through the music than their personality. It was, you caught me by the music first. So yeah, definitely kudos to you. The music is great.
Hey, thank you. That, and I think at the end of the day, as artists as we are, that's the most important thing is we want people to feel us through our art. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah, true.
Whether you're an MC or a painter or a screenwriter, it's all art. And if somebody feels it and you want to get to know that person better, I
Right.
still do that today. If I hear somebody's music, I can't wait to watch an interview of them online
Right.
on YouTube.
Hmm.
That's what I'm It's like back in the day reading the booklet of the CD. I want to know who
Yeah, I
produced
want to
it.
know who
I'll
is
read
this? Yeah.
the thank yous.
Hmm.
That was back in the day. I was
Yeah.
very interested. So when the internet came out and started to get so popular, I've always been the one to be very interested in the artist that I was listening to.
Me
So
too.
you
Me
and I are
too.
very similar that way.
Yeah, that's how I am as well. And I just really like, getting to know people's journey because, it started somewhere. So
Mhm.
let's go back to, where it started. Where are you originally from?
Okay, so I'm from Serra Mesa, which
Okay.
is San Diego.
Hmm.
It's over by the stadium, is where I grew up on top of the stadium hill, which used to be Jack Murphy. Then it was Qualcomm. They ripped that down years ago, and now it's Snapdragon.
Hmm.
My parents still live there to this day. It's a really small hood. It's not a bad neighborhood. It's not a good neighborhood. It's right smack dab in the middle. It's very middle class. Um, excuse me. And there's one thing I do mention a lot is it's it's a melting pot of races
Hmm.
in that neighborhood where I grew up. You've got black, white, Mexican, Asian, and everything in between those. And when you grow up and you're in kindergarten and you've got all these different faces around you, you grow up just thinking that's completely normal. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? So
Yeah.
when it comes to different ethnicities and cultures, I love accents. I love people's cultures and food and stuff like that. So Sarah Mesa was very cool.
Yeah.
And of course, with all these different people involved, there was a lot of hip hop that had come my way and hit my ears from these different cultures and stuff. And my parents were into music, but there was just so much hip hop influence that such a young mind like mine, I fell in love with it at a very, very early age. We're talking in grade school. I loved Run DMC, the
Yeah.
Beastie Boys, and a big story that I tell on my documentary. If you have time, you should watch it. It's like a 50-minute documentary that I shot myself. Um, it's
Oh
got
yeah.
it's got a bunch of stuff that we're probably going to talk about, which is
Hmm.
cool because it is kind of still fresh on my mind.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I started falling in love with hip hop, very early. But my mom and dad would go dancing in the disco era.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I was up until I was 8 months pregnant, or excuse me, my mom was 8 months pregnant with me.
Yeah.
So I was hearing all that disco stuff. So, the Bee Gees come on nowadays, my foot starts tapping. I know the lyrics already. I was just in the restaurant the other day, and if it's disco, I don't listen to disco now per se,
Yeah,
but
but you just know.
if it comes on,
Yeah.
my brain remembers it from being a fetus. I swear to Christ,
That's
like,
so crazy. That's
yeah,
crazy. You
that's
never
where
think
I came
about
from.
that. Yeah.
No, and I have this shirt. It's up in my thing. It's on my documentary. It's a infant shirt. It says "Disco Baby" on it.
Wow.
And it's
The
really cool.
journey
And
began.
I'm looking at it right now. It's right there.
And the journey began. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. That is so incredible and very, very interesting. And then, we all kind of get into the music industry, our own different way. We fall in love with music so many different ways. What led you to, okay, yes, I want to do this. I want to be an artist. Was there like a definitive moment in your life where you were like, I am going to pursue this, or did it just happen?
There was two sections, two times on the timeline that it was very. People use the word organic so much it's kind of cheesy nowadays, but I can't think of anything else.
Yeah.
It was natural. It
Uh-huh.
was very natural. So at a young age, um, and me being an engineer now, if for people that don't know what that is, like I'm the one that plugs in the cables. I'm the one that gets your mic ready. I'm the one that tested your mic out. If there's a problem in the studio, I'm probably going to fix it. If
Mhm.
anything that's in the studio that is equipment, signal path based, my brain went to that as a young child and got really into it. So I used to have, like many kids, used to have a tape deck, a radio stereo tape deck, and then later on I got the dual cassette player. But at first, we had one cassette tape deck, and I noticed one day that there was this little dot on the top that said Mike, and we're talking like, I'm gonna say kindergarten through second grade. I am kind of screwing around with this radio.
Okay.
And then my dad used to work with this guy. His name was last podcast I did, and shout out Gene Flakes. His name was Gene Flakes. He was a truck driver that worked with my dad, and he was really really cool guy. He gave me a microphone to get my dad. He gave my dad a microphone and said, "Give this to your son," because I was recording little fake radio shows like I was a DJ.
Okay.
I'd be like, "Hey, and next up we have Stevie Wonder," because I loved Stevie Wonder when I was a kid. Or next up Michael Jackson, and I would tape these things. I figured out how to do that. And then we had another stereo cassette player, my little brother, and we'd put them face to face, and we would record things back and forth. It would make this weird, kind of a reverby echo kind of effect on it, and we thought that was cool, like, so that's where it started. And then from there, I got some friends together in fourth, fifth, or sixth grade. It was, I think I want to say fifth grade, and we called this crew the Undercuts. So like before white guys or anybody like that would call it a fade, you know what I mean? We used to call it, this a very long time ago, we used to call it an undercut. And like it would undercut, the barber would fade you underneath.
Okay.
And we called each other the Undercuts. And I remember having like album covers with clippers on them. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it was stupid. We were young. But I would be the one to loop up some instrumentals, or find instrumentals on the backside of maxi singles, and then we would record over those instrumentals. And I would write my rhymes, and I had a bunch of older friends in the lowrider scene and in the car scene. I'm a big car guy. And music and cars is, besides my family and my kids and stuff, music and cars is what I love and what I'm good at.
Okay.
I'm a very simple dude,
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. So, like we started to record stuff. Later on in life, I started breakdancing, and that took over my entire life. I didn't want to do anything else. As a kid, junior high, going into high school, I quit breakdancing about 30 years old. I was like, that's it. I had done a move at a bar one time when I was battling somebody. I almost didn't make the flip all the way around. I still won. And I said, that's it. I'm going out.
From me. Yeah.
I'm going out on top. So
right.
I haven't breakdanced since, but that took over my life for quite some time. And then around my early 20s, got right back into the music like I never left, and said, okay, I'm going to do this. And me and my little brother started to learn the very long journey of how do we record music. And that's where it all started.
Right. Yes.
That was the longest answer to the simplest question ever, right?
Nah, that's the perfect answer, because it took us to those moments, and I can feel it. I felt like I was in a room with you, like on the wall, like, yeah, I see this happening. But we all have that moment. True. Yeah, we all have that, like that little spoon, like, okay, I'm doing this. And I like to hear about, like, okay, what was it? Because I know you had that moment. I know that we've all had that feeling, like, I'm doing this, I'm gonna take it there. And so
there was a part in between those times that I have friends from high school, very few, that I'm still friends with today. We got together last weekend, 3 or 4 of us, and we're still homies 31 years later.
That's great.
And of course, they all know I do music, but there was years and years there that we were all homies, close brothers. And they knew I was a breakdancer. They knew I was insanely addicted to hip hop and all music. I love all kinds of different music, but they never knew that I had this passion of learning how to do it. Well, you know what? I didn't have anybody near me that was a DJ or an engineer or an MC. I had nothing. So I had no idea how to start. So I just never mentioned it. Right. And when I tell those old friends of mine, I wanted to do this when we were kids. Wow. I just never brought it up because I was not embarrassed of it, nothing like that.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I'm not an MC. I don't know what to do. I just am a person that has this passion inside of me,
Mm-hmm.
still wanting to go. As soon as I get this close to an answer of how to start doing this, I'm going to do it.
I'm
That's
gonna
how it's
go.
that's how
Yeah.
it started. You know?
And we all have to start somewhere. And for you to finally be at a point now where you're not just recording music, but you're also producing and engineering, like you
Yeah.
said, it's a long journey of learning how to do this, record this music and get it to that certain sound that you hear in your head to make that come out on wax. Sometimes it's a journey to finally get that sound. Like, yes, this is the sound I've been wanting to hear.
Yeah. You go through it, some people are naturally talented, maybe, and they get it right, in the first couple of years or something. But I remember this was a very long time ago. I couldn't tell you when, but I remember there was a point in my underground career here that I got an idea in my head. And then when I would come in the studio, I could remake that idea in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit. Oh, well, I'm sorry to cuss, but
No, you good.
yeah, okay. I'd be like, holy crap, I thought of something. I'm in the studio. I made that idea happen.
Oh,
And
perfect
that
moments.
was the changing of the guard right there. I was like, hold on. You mean to tell me now I have the ability to
Mm-hmm.
take that idea and make it come into fruition, or whatever that word is? That's too big
Right.
of a word for but that was a big point, and going, holy crap, I think I know what I'm doing now. You know what I mean? That was a
Yeah,
big point.
that's a
Glad you
big
brought that
point.
up.
How did you get the name Blind One? Where did that come
Oh,
about?
pretty simple. I was a God. I was such an involved child, and I still have so much going on in life. Besides music and cars.
Uh-huh.
I've always got a million things going on in my head. I like to be busy. So when I was a kid, I played baseball, basketball, soccer. I didn't play football. I'm a small guy. I'm only 5'6". I wanted to play football. My mom was like, "Hell no."
Uh-huh.
So I never got to that, but there was a time I was playing four sports at once. As the seasons go on, and then
Oh.
I was into BMX, and I was heavily, heavily into skateboarding as a kid. I loved it. And
Uh-huh.
there's a company called Blind Skateboards.
Uh-huh.
And I used to have some gear like a blind shirt, blind pants. And then it was a kind of a double answer here. I had an way older homeboy that was a graffiti writer, and I was also a graffiti writer. I was never the greatest artist, but my handwriting and my throw ups, and in case you don't know what throw ups are, not you but anybody else listening, it's the big bubble letters that you see when somebody writes their name, and it's like
Okay.
really cool. Yeah,
Okay.
they're
Yeah, you
quick
just
throw
taught me
ups.
something. I did not know that's
Yeah,
what they're called.
there's graph, or pieces that are these beautiful, intricate works of art that are on the walls everywhere, and those are called pieces or graph writers. But the ones that are quicker are the bubble letter throw ups. They'll probably have a white insert with a black outline, and they'll look
Uh-huh.
really cool, and they're
Yeah.
done really fast. And
Yeah.
those are called throw ups.
Okay.
Well, I was really good at throw ups. I was really good at handwriting. So one day, because of my blind gear, and that was my favorite skateboard company, my older homie said, "Why don't you write blind?" And I
Mm.
said, "Oh, I like that." And that was in junior high school. And then the one,
Mm.
there's a lot of guys out there that have one at the end of their name. Now, if there's something that I don't know about, forgive me, but this is where the one comes from.
Mm-hmm.
If you're gonna write, if you and I go out and we're gonna tag up a train tonight, you're gonna write busy one, because
Mm-hmm.
if there's another busy out there, you want to let everybody know I'm the first
um,
busy.
right. Okay.
Don't don't write blind, and don't write busy, because we're
Right.
busy one and busy and blind one, and that's where the
Yeah.
blind one came from. So
Okay.
when it came to coming up with an MC name, I just stuck with what I already had. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And that was pretty much where it came from.
And that's how it came about.
Yeah, graffiti and skateboard background. Kind of when I don't skateboard anymore, I'm way too old. I'll break a knee. Nobody wants that. You know what I
Me too. I could never do that. Now you
mean?
mentioned when we first began, that I could ask you anything, transparent.
Anything, absolutely anything.
When I listen to your music, the music feels transparent. When you're creating music, do you have a certain type of like method, or is there like a message in all of your music? Are you always transparent? Like, how do you develop? This is probably like 8 questions in one, but how
I'll
do
do my
you
best.
come up with your music? How do you come up with your style? And what is your style?
Um, well, that's a two-parter, and it's pretty simple
Right.
to answer. Um, if we take away the learning phase, which I think we're still always learning. Music is one of those things that I don't think you can put 10,000 hours in and be a master
Mm-hmm.
at. It is always going to evolve. So, everything's going to change, styles change, drums change, flows change, all kinds of stuff. So we're always learning in music. Let's get that out of the way. We're always
Right.
still learning, which I am.
Right.
There was a section of time that I was learning how do I make beats? Then I started making beats. And of course, it was natural to me to make a boom bap style
Mm-hmm.
because I had grown up in boom bap era. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Nas, Biggie, and of course, Dr. Dre and DJ Quick. To not that's leaving out tons. Wu Tang,
Right.
all kinds of different
Tons.
influence. Yeah, I will be on here for days if we go over my influences.
Right.
But I really did start out experimenting with different sounds. My last album that's called Through Blind Eyes, there's a couple of different styles on there. There's the gritty boom bap that I love to make.
Mm-hmm.
There's not club music and not trap music because trap wasn't really my style.
Yeah.
Even though I love a lot of trap, I really do.
Yeah.
There was a melting pot. There was drums that were closer to like a club kind of sound, like a more like vibey, maybe you could dance to it sound, but then you
Mm-hmm.
also had the boom bap sound. And then, of course, my voice and my delivery, people knew that, hey, this is Blind. It sounded like me. And
Right.
then as I got older and made this newer transition in my life of being sober, um, it really opened up my mind, and it closed off some of those experimental pathways, and it kind of just beelined me to where I want to sound like. So if you listen to my newest album that you listen to,
Mm-hmm.
it's got a very, very heavy 808 trap
Mm-hmm.
style 808
Yes.
mixed in with a perfect traditional gritty boom bap sound,
Mm-hmm.
and heavily sampling on top of that. I've always sampled my entire career. I've always sampled, but never this heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And that was completely on purpose. I did that
Mm-hmm.
100% on purpose. So this my sound kind of it got better, I believe, and it also made a nice transformation into what it is now. I think that
Right.
1110, the album 1110, I'm going to do two more 11-10-2, 11-10-3. I'm going to do it because I love the formula so much.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like after all these years, I finally found that.
I
I
love that.
100% believe in my heart that that is exactly how I want to sound. And that is exactly who I am. There's no faking. And that is it.
You
If you
found
had
it.
if you had the X-ray machine on, you would see that style inside my heart. And
Thank
that's
you.
that's how I
Yeah.
got there.
Thank you for explaining that. Now, the 1110, since you mentioned it, does that have a significant meaning?
A 100%.
Mm-hmm.
1110 is simply my sober date. 11-10-2018 is the day I quit drinking. So that's about 5.5 years ago.
Mm,
I wanted to call this
congratulations.
album. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
It means a lot to me. I'm not the type of person that preaches about being sober. There's a lot of people out there that do that, and that's fine. I'm to myself about it. If somebody asks me about it, I'm open. I
Mm-hmm.
want to help. I want to tell you what happened. This is to anybody, not just an interview.
Right.
I'm like that in life. But other than that, I know deep down inside that I conquered something and I move on. So I wanted to call this album something that was very deep to my heart. And besides kids and family, that 1110 means more than anything to me. So that's where
Anything.
I got the name 1110.
I love the entire project. And I just, like
Thank you.
mentioned, when I'm listening to it, I'm wanting to know more about this person. I can tell this person has a story. This person has been through a journey. So I wanted to talk about three of the tracks that kind of stuck out to me. And like I mentioned, all of them really stuck out to me. But I definitely wanted to talk about Death Joy. Something about that really, really got me like, I don't know. It gave me some type of feeling. And I was like, man, like what's what is this feeling? And I know you're talking a lot about changing your lifestyle. So can you tell us how that song came about? What's the meaning behind it?
Yeah, I'm really glad you like that. I've got a great friend of mine that I've known for many years. That was her favorite song as well. And when she was at my listening party, she had told me, I think I like that one the best. And I said, weird, because I love that song too. but that song is, I didn't think was one of the better ones. But it seems like more and more people are liking it. So
Mhm.
listen to the people, not yourself, right?
Right, right.
um, the cool thing about Death Joy, the way that name came out is that maybe I'm probably not the only producer that does this, but when you're making a beat, just a straight up beat, you have no idea what you're going to write to it. You just make a beat and you love it.
Hmm.
And then when you go to name the file, I can name something popcorn.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter. Like I could name something cardboard. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? Like whatever. I just put a name on the file and I save it and
Yeah.
I move on. You know,
Yeah.
so the reason I called that beat Death Joy is because the original sample was, I don't remember who it was right now. I do have it saved, but I don't remember who the sample was by. But it had a girl singing going, and all the joy within you
Hmm.
dies.
Hmm.
So it was all the joy within you dies. So of
Hmm.
course I named the beat Death Joy. You know
Right.
what I mean? It was just popped into my head. I typed it on there. We're done, right? Move on. So I recorded the song. A lot of the lyrics are this album is very simple for me to talk about because all the lyrics are about the same thing. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
they're all about what I felt like when I was very, very, very bad in alcoholism, and the way my body and the way my mind was feeling. Very, very physical problems I had. Nothing that has made any scars on any organs or anything that we know of
Right.
yet, thank God.
Right.
But you know, the alcoholism left scars in my heart and in my soul and in my brain.
Hmm.
So you know, those feelings, I can close my eyes whenever. I can be driving somewhere and see something, and there'll be this horrible feeling that comes back and be
Hmm.
like, oh, I was really sick here. I was really
Yeah.
hungover there. My brain
Oh,
was in a bad,
yeah.
I was sad here. I was depressed here. I was anxiety filled here. And
Yeah.
there's so many horrible feelings. What do you do with all those horrible feelings? Well, the
Yeah.
only thing I know how to do is to pour it into songs.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why a lot of drug addicts and alcoholics, maybe they get real preachy and they want to tell everybody
Right.
about their sobriety. Maybe that's their way of releasing, because they're not an artist. So
Right.
that's their,
They have
that
no
maybe
other,
that's,
yeah.
yeah. So
Gotta
when
have
I
some
say
type of outlet, basically.
exactly, exactly, you know, and I'm not talking down to those people that are preachy, because I think we all know some type of sober preachy people,
Yeah,
and that's
we all
fine.
do.
I think we do, right? Like, and that's
Yeah.
fine. I think that's their outlet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's their release. And so mine was pretty simple, and I'm blessed to have this place to put down stuff and get it off my head. And fortunately, it comes out to be good rap.
It
You know what I mean?
does.
Excuse me, I'm downing my monster, so I'm burping.
Oh no, you good.
um, but yeah, that Death Joy song, I'll go back to that. Sorry, I tend to ramble sometimes. Um, but Death Joy was named Death Joy because of the sample. I recorded the song. I wanted to do um, the hook, the chorus on that. I'm talking about Long Beach, how you won't find me in the streets anymore. You'll find me hiding out in Long Beach, chilling in the
Hmm.
suites,
Yeah.
is because there's something, and it has nothing to do with Snoop Dogg.
Hmm.
Okay, let's get that out of the way. I love
Uh-huh.
Snoop. But there's something about Long Beach. Whenever I go to Long Beach, there's something about the neighborhoods over there, not just the touristy areas, but something about Long Beach down by the Pike is great. I've taken my kids down there, stuff like that. There's four, I don't know about now, but there's four record stores on the same damn street. And,
Hmm.
you know, in this one area of Long Beach, I'm like, this is where I should be living. I really love this place.
Yeah.
So whenever I can, when the kids and I run out of ideas, we went to Santa Monica last couple months ago. But I always try to go to Long Beach, go out there, get a hotel, and chill out. And I love
Yeah.
Long Beach. So I didn't want to. Some songs, I don't want all the songs to be negative. You know, I
Yeah.
want some happiness in it. So the
Yeah.
hook comes from that, trying to keep, trying to tell, like, look, man, I'm the same dude. I'm not going to be out in these streets doing dumb shit anymore, drinking and you know running around doing dumb shit. I'm gonna be in Long Beach with my kids
Right.
chilling out. So that's where the
I
hook idea
love
came
that. It was a level of maturity there. And
from.
then
Yeah.
on handwritten, your lyricism was just, I mean, chef's kiss. Like
Oh,
smashing out. Like, yeah, you went crazy. That's another favorite one.
yeah. Yeah, the handwritten is my favorite on the
Hmm.
album. And though, oh, one more thing about Death Joy.
Yeah.
Um, I think the reason people might like that song, not just lyrical wise, is because after I was completely done with the song, I decided one day that I didn't like the sample. I didn't like the melody part of it.
Uh-huh.
So I built I built the beat that you hear now
Uh-huh.
around the existing lyrics.
Whoa.
So I erased everything in Pro Tools and erased everything in FL Studio or whatever I use, whatever I tend to use on the beats.
Uh-huh.
And I started from scratch, keeping the lyrics only. So I custom made that beat around the lyrics, and it ended up to be this really dope version of it, and I was like, oh, this is
That
way better,
makes sense.
like,
Yes,
so
that
that's
makes
maybe,
sense.
I don't know why. I don't know. There's a couple more songs on the album that I erased the sample and redid the beat. I did that a couple of times on this album. I don't remember which ones I did, but I remember for certain that Death Joy was that one, because the sample was a girl singing that all the joy within you dies. And I
Yeah.
know that sample no longer exists now, so it's easy
Hmm.
for me to remember that. But Handwritten, yo,
Hmm.
that I don't want to say any samples. Let people figure out the samples for themselves, okay?
Yeah,
Um,
that's a good
but
idea. That's a good idea.
yeah, I don't want to say the names of the samples because I know what they are, but that handwritten is my favorite, by far, by leaps and bounds, my favorite song. Not only because of the content, I sound a little dark, I sound a little angry,
Mhm.
and a lot of my music has been like that in the past. If you listen to past records of mine, there's a lot of
Mhm.
that. And I, tend to try to bring that to the microphone, bring that to wax. And at the same time, if you noticed, I flipped the sample halfway through that song, which made me go, holy crap, that is what I want this to sound like. And as soon as I flipped that beat, I was like, are people gonna dig this? Or am I just in my studio going, this is ridiculous?
No,
So
that was fire.
everybody tends to like it. So I'm glad I took that chance. I don't flip too many beats like that. I know a lot of people do. I'm not reinventing the wheel here.
Uh-huh.
But I thought, hold on one sec. I thought that would be a good idea, so I went with it, and I'm glad it worked out. That's all.
Yeah. I loved that. Handwritten. I was like, yo, he's snapping on it. He's spazzing. So yeah, that
I went a
was
little I went a little nuts on that song. I'm
yeah,
not
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
lie.
I was highly impressed. Highly impressed.
Thank you.
Highly
Thank you, man.
impressed. And then I mean it's kind of hard to for the last one. Because like I said, I like all of them, but I definitely want to mention Old Man Troubles. Only because
That is the song that I never thought people would like, and it almost didn't make the record. And then
really
you you pick another one that people really like. I don't get it.
the
It's
reason
never what I like.
Old Man Troubles is because I don't know, I've been at a place of like just making sure that I'm in tune with just being more present and grateful and having like that gratitude. Sometimes you overlook certain things and then boom, you're like, man, it doesn't have to be like this. It could be bad for me. So, it's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
embracing who I am and just having that gratitude. So whenever I listen to the Old Man Troubles, it just kind of gave me like this feeling of being like proud of you and I don't even know you. You know what I mean? It just made me like proud of
I've
you for
told
some
people that.
reason.
I
Yeah.
told you and I get along well because I tell people that. You know what? I'm proud of you. We've never even met.
Yeah.
I really say that. I swear to Christ, I do. That's really cool.
Yeah,
That
that's how it
and you know
made me
what?
feel.
I'll tell you what. I like not handwritten. I'm sorry. I like Old Man Troubles again because people like it.
Yeah.
I just that was the only record that I was like, do I cut it off the record? Because I trimmed the fat off this record. I started to do that a couple of years ago. I started to record more songs than I wanted to, and then I would cut off the ones that weren't gonna make it. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that was the last song that I was like, I don't know if I should cut this or not, but I left it on
Man,
there because I really do like that song. It just I didn't know if it was going to be worth putting it on there, but I'm glad I did because
I'm
there's
glad
been
you
multiple
did.
people. Thank you.
Yeah,
There's
I'm
been
glad
multiple
you
people that
did.
like that song, and now I'm just very happy about that because it's a fun song. Did you want me to describe that a little bit?
Yeah,
Like you,
definitely describe
okay,
that.
okay. So Old Man Trouble, it's a sample that everybody's heard before, and I'm not going to say what, but if you find out where that sample's from and who else used it, DM me because it's fun. Like
Yeah.
I'm a huge record person and sample guy, and whenever I find out, I'll just bust out right in the middle of a dinner, with somebody. I'll be like, "Hey, you hear that? Wu-Tang used that." You know what I mean? Like, and they'll be
Yeah.
like, "What the hell is he talking about?" Like it's always on my brain.
Yeah.
But Old Man Troubles was part of the sample, obviously, and it fit me perfect because I'm getting up there in age, and I also wanted to, I'm not always serious. Okay. I'm a clown. I
Yeah,
really
yeah.
am. Like I'm a very serious person. I've always got so much going on and my brain's always full. But I mean, ask my kids and my fiance, I'm a freaking clown, dude. I am
Yeah.
just do and make everybody laugh. And I'm dumb. Like you can't be serious all the time or you'll go
Right.
crazy,
You
right?
can't. Right.
So, Old Man Troubles is simply talking about getting up there in age, dealing with the transition of quitting drinking and still
Uh-huh.
doing hip hop.
Right.
But I tend to throw in that cocky, boastful, stupid side of me, and that's in the hook. It's kind of that hook is kind of a chorus
Mm-hmm.
and a post hook, if you think
Mm-hmm.
about it that way, because there's the main chorus, but then there's a post hook right after it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of a weird format for rap, but I thought maybe it would fit, and it did. So when I talk about women leaving me in the past,
Yeah.
because of me being hard to love, being an alcoholic and having so much going on, I'm hard to love.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, when I say it's hard for them to dismount, I'm not physically talking about them being on top of me.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's hard for them to dismount, meaning it's hard for them to leave. And the reason I
Mm-hmm.
said that is because my relationships have been very long. I've
Yes.
had 9 years, 5 years, and then this current one is going over 16 years. So there's always a long term. So I am a good guy inside. So it's hard for these people when they did leave my ass,
Uh-huh.
it's hard for them to leave.
I
And then I
love that.
joke
Okay,
around and
that's
I
dope.
say, yeah, that's where that comes from,
That's
is kind of
dope.
me not being as serious. And then the real like cocky jokester, because I will be boastful, and some people get the wrong way, but I really am clowning around. I don't take myself that serious, and people don't believe that because I sound so serious when I say it. But when I say whatever I would give him is a handsome amount, you know, that's me kind of joking around. Like whatever I give you is a handsome amount. It's kind of a play on words. I give you a
Uh-huh.
lot. It's a
Yeah.
handsome amount. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And it's just
Yeah.
me kind of going,
I
like
like
I
that. I
want
rock with that.
people that know me will get it. Up
Yeah.
there it is. He hasn't been cocky all album. There it is.
And
You
there
know
you
what I
go.
mean? So
Right there. Yeah, I
yeah,
like
that's
that.
where that comes from.
Yeah, I like that. And then, like I mentioned, you guys can check out the project yourself because it dropped May 17th, and it definitely covers your journey, with the alcoholism and the challenges that you just faced throughout your life in the past years. And I mean, it's a dope project. You can get it on Here Now. Just go to blind1.herenow.com and you'll be able to purchase that and stream that. And also, just make sure you follow Blind One and support Blind One because he's a part of the Get to Know Me podcast family now.
Yeah, and I'm happy to be here. It's cool that I was a fan first and then kind of not forgot about you, because
Yeah,
that's not right. I
yeah.
remembered you right away,
You remember
but I
me
really
right
was a
away.
fan first. And
Yeah.
I said, I should reach out to her one of these days. And to be honest with you, I did not put the two and two together at first. I knew Bizzy
Mm.
Balboa, the MC. I did not know Get to Know Me
Oh,
podcast was you. And then
okay.
I figured out it was you. And I said, "Oh
Uh-huh.
wait, so she's rapping and doing. Oh, that's cool." Because
Yeah.
you're the second person that I know. Well, I mean, I'm not going to say there's a lot of people that are an MC and have a podcast, but
Hmm.
you're the second person that I know on Instagram, from an underground standpoint, that does both. And I said, "Oh man,
Yes.
that's cool." Because
Yeah.
we all need another outlet
Yeah,
nowadays.
we do.
The
We
music
do.
doesn't do everything, right?
And it's so fun, I started this in 2018 and it was just me rambling on here about stuff I wanted to talk about. And then the pandemic hit and there was no way to
Yeah,
communicate or talk to anybody,
yeah.
so I was like, I should start interviewing artists. So I put a post out. I was like, any artists want to get interviewed? And I had like hundreds. And I mean,
Oh, cool.
it just began the journey of me interviewing, artists and turning into the Get to Know Me podcast that we know today. But I don't regret it at all because, like I mentioned, there's not a lot of spots for us independent artists to really like display our art and talk about our journey and talk about ourselves, and really just have the floor and be able to talk and
Yeah,
let people know about us and how they can support us and just everything. So I
I
wanted to
really
build a
like.
community here.
Yeah, I really love the name of the podcast. I think names are a big thing to me.
Hmm.
Whether you came up with it in a millisecond in your brain or you thought about it for a long time, the Get to
Yeah.
Know Me podcast, it's a perfect title. I like
Yeah,
that.
I feel
Really
that same way because that's ultimately what we're doing. So sometimes whenever I feel like, man, I'm sharing too much, and then I'll be like, oh, it's the Get to Know Me podcast. Like I'm supposed to
no,
be sharing stuff, I'm
you
supposed to be
know,
talking about stuff.
not to speak for you, but people like us that that don't mind people knowing about us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think we fit better in this society because there's a
Hmm.
lot of people out there that are very shy or bashful, or
Right.
maybe they're to themselves. And you've got an older gentleman like me that is, not used to the social media thing. I
Yeah.
didn't grow up in social media. I'll tell you what, I'm the dumbass that never takes enough pictures because you know why? I didn't have a camera in my pocket growing up.
Yeah.
It's like if I go to a concert, I'm not the one with my phone up, and people are like,
Yeah.
"Hey, man, you didn't take any footage of Ice Cube?" And I was like, "Why? I remember." You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but
I was there.
I'm get, I'm getting a lot better at it.
Yeah.
I suck still. And when it
Man.
comes to the reason I'm saying this is because you said we don't have enough outlets for underground artists like ourselves. And I'm still a student. I am such a
Yeah.
if like I'm a white belt. If we were
Yeah.
doing karate or jujitsu or something, I'm a white belt when it comes to promoting online
Right.
because
Right.
I'm the type. Maybe you too. I don't know how old you are, and I'm not going to ask. But maybe I remember selling
I'm getting
CDs.
up there.
Oh, okay, me too. Like I was selling CDs out of my trunk,
Yeah.
and that's how I promoted. I was hanging
Yeah.
posters up in barbershops.
Hey,
That's how I promoted.
nothing wrong with that. I feel like that's still one of the best ways to promote is word of mouth. I still
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
strongly in that. And,
And,
nothing better than being just authentic and just, shaking hands and rubbing shoulders. You know what I mean? Like really introducing yourself to people. A lot of times that kind of gets people going too. Like, oh, I met that guy, or whatever. Like, oh, I remember them. And then that kind of gives them a little bit more of a personable feeling towards you because, you approach them and you presented yourself. Because I like to do that as well. Everything isn't always like easy to do through the internet. I feel like I'm better at promoting other people than I am myself. I don't talk enough about my own. I forget that I even rap sometimes, and I'm like, oh yeah, you heard about this person. So
yeah, yeah.
I'm
No,
trying to get better at that as well, like mentioning my music and my art to people.
you are leaps and bounds ahead of me because my Instagram looks crappy when you open it up and you look at the where all my pictures are. It doesn't all match and look good because I'm getting used to doing it. I started doing my own videos and stuff, and I'm not any good at that, but at least I can put content together now and put it up. I can make pictures better. I'm just, I'm completely learning this game, and I will listen to anybody. I will ask my girl's niece. She's 20 or something like 21.
Right.
She's just way
How do I do
generations
this?
younger than me. I'll be like, hey, how do I message a bunch of people with the same thing? And she's like, I think you have to have a professional account. And I was like,
Yeah.
really? So then I made a professional account. I wouldn't have known that without asking the younger generation. So
Yeah.
I will be the first one to tell you I'm a dumbass when it comes to promoting myself online, but I am doing everything I possibly can to get better at it. I
Hey,
don't want to be
we
left out. I don't
we
want to be left in the
definitely
cold.
gonna have your back, man. Like that's what the Get to Know Me podcast is. It's a hub, artist supporting artists. So
Absolutely.
even without you being interviewed on the podcast, we still support you. But now that you're interviewed, you're a part of the community. So I expect
Hey,
everybody
I'm happy.
listening to support my guy here, and in return, you support them as well. Some of the guests that you see in here, share or listen to them or whatever you want. However you want to support. But I want everybody
Yeah.
to make sure you guys go and stream this latest project from Blind One. And then, follow Blind One as well. Comment, share, let them know that Bizzy Balboa sent you from the Get to Know Me podcast. I definitely appreciated your time. It was great getting to know you a bit here and just
Thank you so much. Yeah,
listening to
for
your
real.
music and hearing a little bit about your story. I know it's so much more, and you're welcome to come back anytime and we can talk much more about anything that you want to
Oh,
talk about.
you're gonna regret that. I could
Oh
talk for
no, you're
days if you.
welcome to come anytime. I've had people on the show 4 or 5 times. You know what I mean? Like it's not one of those things where we've already interviewed. No, come back because things change all the time.
Oh,
Update
hey,
us.
I'd be happy to be the Jadakiss of drink champs. I think Jadakiss has been on Drink Champs 20 times. I'll be that guy for you. I'm
You
kidding.
can
I'm
be, you
kidding.
can be that guy. You can be that guy.
But
Come back because hey, you got a story. You're very interesting, and the music's great. Everything's dope, and like you're
thank you.
super talented. You're multifaceted, and that's like something that's like I mean, it's crazy. People don't understand like what all it takes and what all goes into doing these things.
Yeah.
So to hear you do so many different things and to hear your story about all of the challenges you've overcome, I definitely will be on the lookout for more stuff from you and just
Hey,
waiting to see what else is coming because you
yeah.
you got a story, you got something going here.
I'm gonna continue to promote this album as much as I can. I recently upgraded the studio in here because this is. Do you mind if I tell one thing
Oh,
about
go
this album
ahead.
that people? Okay, this is. I don't know if anybody out there is a nerd like me, but thank you for mentioning I do a lot and because I do. But I don't think it's because I'm smart. I think it's because I'm the opposite. I think it's because I'm kind of dumb. Because why would you want to do all of it when you could just pick one and be really good at it? You know what I mean? It's like
It's hard when you're ambitious like this. Like, I
the
mean, you find yourself all over the place.
the only reason I do all three, write the raps, produce, mix and record my own stuff. The only reason I do that is because back in the day it was out of necessity. That's
Yeah.
it. It's not because I want to be smarter than everybody. It's
Hmm.
not because I want to be the badass that says, "Look, I do everything." Forget y'all. No, 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 not even close. I tell people this all the time, especially to my MC rapper friends, like the homies that only rap. I'm so jealous of them.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, dude, I wish I could just pick
I
one thing.
wish. Yeah. I
You know,
wish that
but
too.
but you know what, Busy? Here we are.
Here
This
we
is
are.
where I this
And
is what
I'm
I do,
grateful. I'm
and there's
grateful.
no turning back now.
It's none.
I'm in here, and it
And
takes
that's
forever,
that's
but
the reason why I say sometimes you might have a big gap in between me doing the podcast. It's not because it's over. It's just because my interest probably has went elsewhere, and the podcast is kind of in the shadows. I'll be back.
bless you for that. You got to go this way when you got to turn left when it tells you to turn left. You know what I mean? That's the way it is in life,
You gotta do it. So tell
But
the
you know
people,
what?
where can we find you? How can they follow you? What's your Instagram handle? Like, where do we need to
Uh,
support you at the most?
okay, so going over I'm just gonna look something up real quick, excuse me.
Go ahead.
Going we were talking about how I'm really slow to this internet stuff. My YouTube channel is brand new, and I'm embarrassed of the how many subscribers I have, but I just did put it
I
together.
subscribed.
Thank you. And I subscribed to you last night, and I did everything that you asked me to do.
Thank you. I
So,
appreciate you.
but yeah, it's at blind one, not ONE, but it's blind one at blind one SMC, which is my crew that we made Sarah Mesa record or Sarah Mesa crew SMC records. So at blind one SMC, and then Instagram is blind one SMC, BLINDONE SMC. That's where you
Okay.
can find me. And yeah, are we out of time?
No, we're not out of time because I think I cut you off from telling your story. My bad.
Oh no, I thought maybe that you're watching the clock and I'm not, so I apologize.
I am watching it, but you have
Oh,
still 4 minutes.
I'll make this really quick just for the nerds out, the audio nerds out there. I upgraded everything in my studio from hardware, speakers, computer, software, any plugins, anything that was cracked, you know what I
Uh,
mean, like pirated. I went ahead and bought it, but the
what?
thing is,
Okay.
the thing is that I've been using the same stuff for 20 years, give or take a couple pieces. But this is what I want to make people feel better. This is not because I want to brag. I want to make people feel better about the equipment they have in their rooms, they have in their basements, whatever. I made this record that Miss Busy is talking about. I made this record on Windows XP.
Mm.
Okay. The oldest Windows, besides going back even further, Windows XP, Pro Tools 7, and the first generation Mbox. That is what I made this record on with Waves plugins, a couple of more, and FL Studio I have been using for about 5 years. No, probably a little longer than that, but I've used many, many other things. Beat machines, samplers, because I'm old,
Uh-huh.
so I started from beat machines and hardware and then moved
Right.
into software. And then
Right.
I moved into Reason. I was on Reason software for a while. I've always been a Pro Tools guy. Then I moved into FL Studio at a later date, which is weird because usually FL Studio is where people begin.
Yeah, a lot of people start. Yeah.
Very weird for a veteran like myself to take on FL Studio
Mm-hmm.
years later.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've been using FL Studio for, oh my God, maybe over 10 years now. But
Wow.
I've been doing this for 20 something years.
Right.
So I had a bunch of other equipment before that, but I ended up on FL Studio, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Pro Tools guy. I've been using Pro Tools for over 20 years. But my point is that Windows XP, kids are not going to know what Windows XP is. Okay,
Yeah.
I started on Mac. Now I'm a PC guy,
Uh-huh.
just because of I got issues with Mac, nothing big. It's just there was a certain time that I was tired of Mac updating, and then everything we had didn't work.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I got there. It's better now, way
yeah.
better now, but back in the day, it was very frustrating.
Rare,
So
yeah.
I switched to Windows, which I never thought in a million years I would, but now I'm a complete Windows guy. I have nothing against anything, whatever people use to get them where they need to go, then use
Right.
it. But
Whatever
I
works.
want people to know that that stupid saying, it's not the gear, it's the ear. I don't know if you've ever heard that. It's a
Yes, I
real
have.
nerdy, yeah, it's very nerdy talk, for engineers or producers or whatever. But think about it. I used, once again, Windows XP, Pro Tools 7, and the first generation Mbox with a good mic and a good mic pre, and just my and some really good plugins and just my skills over the years. And then I had it mastered by a local guy, which I usually do my own mastering.
Yeah.
But this album was so special to me. I wanted to put it in somebody else's ears. And he didn't do a lot of changes. He just kind of, my brother says it best, he kind of put the pixie dust on my
Yeah.
mixes.
Yeah.
So pretty much basically he just laminated a nice drawing for me. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So I just wanted to, last podcast that I did not mention this, and I really thought it was part of the story. So I appreciate you letting me ramble for a couple minutes. That
Oh
even
yeah.
if you have crappy gear, ask Bizzy Balboa how my album came out on that old equipment.
Crispy,
Like that, and
baby.
that's, to me, that's very important for people to know. Don't, just because you have a pile of crap HP laptop that your dad gave you or your mom gave you doesn't mean that you can't make incredible stuff on it.
That's
You
true.
know, People
Drop the
need to know that.
mic. Drop the mic. That's very
Hey,
true. And
yeah,
even better than me telling y'all, go listen to it yourself and you be the judge. How about that? Because I'm telling you that, I mean, to me, it sounds just absolutely incredible. And bigger than that, what you're talking about is even better.
thank you.
So definitely. And I wanted to ask one last question because I know we said we were going to wrap this up 7 times now. But
Ask me anything you want.
when people listen to your music, what do you want us to take from it? How do you want us to feel?
Well, overall, all I want to do, because when we were kids, I'm sure all of us wanted to make it rich and famous, be on MTV, whatever, BET. We all wanted to make it famous. But as you get older, you learn about the music industry, and it's a very, very incredible. It's like, walking through the gates of hell, and it's
Yes.
very,
Oh my goodness.
and sometimes people are not, sometimes, all the times, there's always artists out there that don't have a fingernail of talent that you do,
Yeah.
and they're making it big. So as soon as you can get over that, which, I didn't, it wasn't that hard for me to get over. I was young when I started this, probably like yourself. But once I got over that, I just, when people listen to my music, I want them to, I want them to respect me as an artist,
Mhm.
whether it's an underground artist, a San Diego artist, which I think we all struggle in San Diego for some stupid reason. I don't know why we have that crab in a barrel mentality here.
Mm.
Everybody trying to climb up on each other and, not letting anybody get to the top. If you're an artist from San Diego, I am 100% supporting you. I don't care who you are. You know what I mean?
Word
But
up.
there's other guys out there that I'm obviously not going to mention any names, but, I'll be like, hey man, did you hear this dude from SD? As soon as I say SD San Diego, they go, oh man, I'm good on that. Like, whoa, whoa,
Mm.
whoa, whoa. You haven't even heard the record. Like, what do you
Right,
mean you're good on
right.
it? As soon as you say San Diego, they don't give a crap. And then that
Yeah.
makes no sense to me. So, and anyway, to answer your question, yes, I want people to respect me as an artist when they hear my music. But this album, same thing. I would like to be respected, and not in a bad way. Just, oh man, that guy's dope. That's all I really want.
Yeah.
I also want, when I'm dead and gone, I want my kids, because my kids are very young, 7 and 8.
Mhm.
They're heavily into music, and how could they not be? They've been in
Right.
the studio. They've been in the studio since they were in their walkers. You know what I mean? My daughter, I have a great video of my daughter scratching on the turntable, and she's like 3 or 4. So I want them to be able, when I'm dead and gone, I want them to be able to pop up the internet and listen to dad when they miss me. You know what I
That's
mean?
right. Amen.
That's a big,
Yeah.
that comes with age and maturity, obviously.
Right. Definitely.
But
Big.
to answer your question, excuse me for that. To answer your question, this album, I want people to focus in on the sound of it. I want
Mhm.
people to know that this is coming from a concept album type idea of, this guy was just like us, had a problem with alcohol over the years, and was able to overcome it with straight willpower and a little bit of help from his family, and using hip hop as a crutch, to get me over whatever injuries that I had to my soul and my heart and brain, and I want people to understand that this album was made from a place that is very, very dark and was at one point in time very, very negative. And I turned that and I flipped that on you and I made it into something dope. And that's what I want people to take home. That's it.
That's
Pretty
what's
simple.
up. That's what's up, That's what's up. I like that. Hey, that was deep. That caught me right there. It gave me chills.
Yeah, I almost got emotional there. Almost.
Me too. I'm like, oh, I'm trying to keep it in.
Yeah, sorry about that.
There it is, and there it was, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between. It's Bizzy Balboa and Blind One, San Diego's very own, on the Get to Know Me podcast. Y'all stay safe, but stay dangerous. We are out. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the Get to Know Me podcast. New episodes released weekly on Saturdays and Wednesdays. In the weeks where we skip, please tune into our previous episodes. Other ways to support is word of mouth, following us on all social media and podcast platforms, and supporting the guest on our show. You also can become a subscribed listener by signing up as low as 99 cents a month, where you will have access to exclusive episodes, a chance to win prizes, and more. Again, thank you for tuning into the Get to Know Me podcast, created and hosted by Bizzy Balboa.